Nomads is less than 2 weeks away, and in this dev diary, we're going to look at the Stellar Cannon, a purely offensive megastructure, 6 new Nomadic Civics, including a couple very pirate-themed ones, looking forward to that, 6 nomadic traits, yes, there's a new tech rush trait, how to settle and embark, and of course, the Exodus jump. You will annoy anyone you use it on. There's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Firstly, the Stellar Cannon. You can see here with the screenshot, it looks like it's taking energy from is that a neutron star? And it's yeeting it into a wormhole, which looks incredible. Grants Network is here to talk about the newest megastructure, the Stellar Cannon. A purely offensive megastructure buildable by settled empires as long as they have an available system with either a neutron star or a pulsar. It also requires no ascensions to research either. Oh gosh, everyone's gonna have one and fire them at each other. Once constructed, starting from level 1, its functionality remains roughly the same through all 3 levels. First, you prepare for stellar devastation. So as you can see here, you have the Stellar Cannon 3 with an upkeep of 75 energy a month, which is pretty decently high. That is the 3rd stage, and there's an Unleash Stellar Devastation button, which we're probably going to use on an empire. It does also give a modifier, which is interesting, because even if you don't want to use it, that modifier looks quite useful. It's either attack speed or damage, maybe energy damage, but 100%, whatever it is good. Pushing this, unfortunately not red button, it should have been red, shouldn't it, will move you into the galaxy view with the targeting reticle. You might find familiar if you've used the quantum catapult before you, but this time we get to beam. Then all you need to do is target a system you find particularly bothersome. So here we have the Stellar Cannon 3, we can unleash it, and they are aiming. You can see the reticle, it is just one system, it looks like, unlike obviously the quantum catapult where it could be a larger range depending. It looks like they're about to target the automated Dreadnought. Once the target has been confirmed, the Stellar Cannon will start its charge up phase, opening a wormhole to the target and beginning the 140-day long countdown. Yeah, so it opens up a wormhole. It doesn't shoot it like across the galaxy in a line. It will fire it through a wormhole and it open a wormhole in that system, fire it, which is pretty cool. During this time, you'll be able to see a stunning visual effect in the target system. I mean, they could have shown us that. If you wish for any of your ships in that system to survive, that's the moment to run, or pray that your enemy is broke. What does that mean? Let's talk about the math. How much does it cost to fire the Stellar Cannon? Everything. It uses up your entire energy stockpile and fires that at the enemy system. The conversion of damage scales with your cannon level, with the first giving you 1 damage for 100 energy spent. Oh, that's really cool, actually. So resource silo matter, if you want to do like 1 billion damage, you need 1 billion divided by 100 energy. Once the charge up phase is up, the damage is applied to every single ship in the system. Notice they're saying ships. In addition, it will also deal devastation to every colony in the system, scaling with the Stellar Cannon level 10, 25, 50. So this cannon is not an across the map, no scope, quick scope planet cracker, but at level 3 it will do 50% devastation, which is brutal. It can really hit a colony, but it's mainly there to deal with ships, which I like. I was a little bit concerned, would this just replace the need to go Colossus, but no, the Colossus is still needed if you want to crack planets. Should your shot use more than 50,000 energy, you'll also increase the temperature of all planets in the system, moving them 1 up the dryness scale, like barren to molten or Arctic to ocean. Okay, that's quite funny. Mind you, this will not move a planet out of being habitable or into being habitable, so it's just going to mess up with their habitability, which is annoying. On top of that devastation too, remember, so it could easily put that planet into a revolt. Shots at this level will also trigger being in breach with the terraforming resolutions of the galactic community. Long range terraforming is still terraforming. Now, obviously, being shot at will trigger opinion penalties with the shooter and give you an alert, just in case you missed being shot. In addition, using the Stellar Cannon will carry smaller penalties with everyone, because actually using it is kind of terrifying to the rest of the galaxy. That makes sense. It's kind of a total war weapon. Now let's talk about restrictions. The Stellar Cannon's main restriction is its inability to target systems with your own colonies in them. So you can't terraform your own planets, or systems anyway. This does mean you can turn systems into arc furnace systems if there's barren worlds. So if you, being very nerdy and you find a massive system with loads of deposits but no molten world to then make an arc furnace, you could shoot this weapon at it with more than whatever it was, 50,000 energy. Anyway, while it has a significant charge up phase, there's only a small cooldown between shots because it uses up all your energy, of course. You're however free to acquire more energy to fire again. I would suggest asking your local megacorp for a loan for the purpose of high intensity terraforming. I can actually see people using this to terraform each other's planets in multiplayer. That would be so funny. In addition, the AI have a few more restrictions in that it will only target enemies if it has more than 10,000 energy in storage, has a positive energy balance, and will only target systems with fleets that have more than piddling fleet power, mainly so they don't waste their entire energy budget on shooting single ship reinforcements. It will also be more likely to target you if you insult it, especially if your insult is extra creative. This is very interesting that the AI can actually use this. I was honestly predicting that they wouldn't because the AI can't use a lot of systems, which is not something I like necessarily, but they will use it. We'll see if that's annoying or if they use it in creative ways. Your entire fleet might get evaporated for no reason. That's going to be hilarious. If you're thinking about buying Season 10, make sure to use my code EP for Stellaris or use the link in the description. It'll take you to the Paradox store where you'll give the channel a cut of the sale and then you'll get a Steam key in return. It's greatly appreciated and helps out the channel a bunch. Thank you. Civics. Cosmogon is here again to show us the new civics. Let's start with the simpler ones. We have Caravan Masters. Trade is the lifeblood of empires, and trade blooms best when growing on a steady network of relays and caravanseries. It will give you the guaranteed research option for improved wayline logistics, which is going to improve your way stations or waylines, I presume. Your home system will start with a way station already constructed. So do our home stations just not start with way stations then? Interesting. It also will give you 2 more station capacity because remember, every way station is going to take up starbase capacity. It's not like outposts with regular empires. You also get 10% more station capacity, so any modifiers that give you capacities for every 10 you get, you'll get an extra one. Way station build cost is reduced by 20% as well as the upgrade cost. So this is just all about being a way station nomad, essentially. Council position will also give collection efficiency 2% and logistic ship stockpile capacity 2% per level. That could actually matter a lot. Level 10, you get 20% more. Pretty good. Then I have flight school. Pilots have always been heroes of the people, inspiring many to strive to become just like them. Before long, becoming a pilot was considered a symbol of status, creating generations of ace pilots whose results speak for themselves. You start with carriers. That's very strong. We've seen in my ship testing videos, carriers are very good. And you get the way station module patrol hangar. It also gives strikecraft 10% more speed and more sublight speed to your ships. It's really good. Council position also gives strikecraft regeneration plus 1% per level and minus 3% hyper jump charge time. The strikecraft regen could add up. I think that's how often it fires out strikecraft. So you're just going to get more. So your damage is going to ramp up quicker. I like that. Strikecraft is really good. So I will be using that potentially with the Khan, I think. We'll just go full like strikecraft military arc ship. Yeah, I like that. Deep sleep. These nomads are experts in cryonics, working the crews of their arc ships only when they would be most productive. You have 3,000 initial pops. That is a lot of pops, like a lot. Starting and future arc ships all get 3 deprecated cryopods, and it grants access to the prepare the deep sleep colony decision once cryopods are cleared. Per level, your leader lifespan goes up 2. That sounds very interesting. I like that. You can like start with a bunch of pops, but you probably have something to do with the cryopods. Maybe you have to wake them up to actually unlock those pops, because otherwise it'd just be OP. Hired guns. This empire has established itself as a military partner for hire. They drive a hard bargain, but are at the best when using lethal force to solve their clients' problems. You get 50% more trade reward from military contracts. You get 15% ship fire rate and 15% less upkeep on your military ships while under a military contract. So just a lot of buffs for doing military contracts, which we did see you could join wars or they'll pay you to do wars. And the council position reduces military ship upkeep by 0.5 per level. Again, that's really good actually. And then you have 2% more orbital bombardment army damage, which can be useful. You won't have to use armies then. Really solid civics. These civics are pretty straightforward and give you some modifiers to bolster a playstyle or roleplay fantasy. For instance, we can try and be the ultimate pirate in vanilla using hired guns, maybe mercenary enclaves and stuff like that. So we just go around hiring fleets, selling our services. Pretty cool. Caravan Masters, Flight School and hired guns are available for both regular and corporate nomad empires. So these are a lot for nomads, of course. While Deep Sleep has versions for all Nomad Empires. I think that's talking about just Stolt then. The next civic is Star Seekers. Seeking ever stranger stars, we are united by a shared wanderlust. We celebrate every light in the galaxy and cherish every moment chasing distant stars. We have the available situation approach celebration. We then have the situation log entry star journal, maybe journaling stars, I presume. It's nomadic, so you're exploring. Sublight speed 20%, that is a big bonus and can help, obviously. Then the council position is going to give you 2% survey speed and 1% sublight speed per level, pretty decent too. Starseekers looks more closely at cultural impact of being a traveling civilization and will encourage you to travel around while gathering supplies, before triggering an up to 6-month long celebration across your arc ships, burning all your hoard in joyful reveals. So here we have the approach festivals. It's going to lower that progress by 10,000 a month, which I presume is going to get you to the bottom like it said, but you get 1,000% hop growth or assembly speed, minus 90% diplomatic weight from economy, 1,000 efficiency for specialists, and 1,000 for complex drones. So your specialists are going to produce you all the alloys, consumer goods, and tech you ever need for up to 6 months. That can net you a lot, especially if you have a solid income, so you can get back up from the bottom of your stockpile. That's pretty cool. A festival will quickly deplete your operational reserves, so make sure you have the means to fill it back up afterwards. It will immobilize one of your arc ships as you encamp for the duration of festivities, letting your people spread through the system. And then we have a screenshot. Is that an arc ship? What even is that? Is that them just like celebrating in a different ship? What? Void Reavers. Freebooters of the stars. The society's only vague nations of property. They respect the right of the strong and the cunning to seize ill-protected riches for themselves. It will unlock the plundering bombardment stance, which allows us to steal resources produced on a planet. It will give additional way station modules, defenses, and piracy modules, and it will give you +1 cloaking strength, minus 5% military ship alloy cost. Oh, they've added alloy cost reduction back. They did remove those a while ago, but it will have a 5% more energy upkeep. Your counter position will give your stations 5% hull points and 5% damage per skill level, setting up a solid base for you. And you do have to be nomadic, militarist, not xenophile, and you can't be Total War or Forever Cruise. Void Reavers is the Nomad's take on the pirate fantasy and leaves you free to play it subversely or more directly by either leeching off resources through your way stations or straight up bombarding colonies to plunder them. It is only available to regular empires, as in, yeah, you can't be just told. It means regular Nomad empires. We have a bunch of screenshots here. We have the concealment field. Advanced paneling work to minimize leaks of signals and energy, will reinforce our defenses and optimize our cloaking systems. Cost you 150 alloys, 2 trade upkeep, but will give you +1 auxiliary slot with cloaking. So early game cloaking, do you unlock that straight away? I'm not sure. It does look like it because it's piracy modules and with pirates. Okay, the civic seems set. Pirate hideout. It's a station limit of 1 and there has to be a colony present. It's going to cost 150 alloys with an 8 trade upkeep. It's going to have a 1 strikecraft slot, which we could pair with those strikecraft above. And it will provide resources based on the output of colonies in the system. Every system colony will give a monthly production stolen of 1.5%. So if you put it above an empire's capital, you're just slowly stealing 1.5% of their resources every month. And that is incredible. If this space station is not cloaked, the colony will suspect piracy and suffer an opinion penalty towards us. But if you cloak it, they don't know. So you can combine it with the concealment field. This is incredible. Reaver Stronghold, an empire limit of 1. This is a static headquarter of our pirate fleet. This formidable stronghold will help us coordinate raids across the entire galaxy. It's going to cost 1,500 alloys with the 50 trade upkeep. However, it gives your ships a 25% hull points and ship fire rate. That is insane. But you lose 6 cloaking strength. However, you get 30% damage reduction. What? On your military arc ships too. They've got such a big hull and stuff. That's insane. It also gives you +1 hangar weapon slot on that station, and monthly production stolen by pirate hideouts, which we just saw, goes up 1.5%. So it goes to 3, doubling it. This doubles the chance of stealing resources while using the plundering bombardment stance. So if you combine it with the plundering that Void Reavers gives you, you're going to get more too, so that's a must. And honestly, if you then pair it with hired guns, you're getting that upkeep reduction of fire rate when you're doing military contracts and more for military contracts, so you can go around just doing military contracts with all the buffs of pirating while plundering their planets from the military. As the Khan, yeah, we're doing Void Reavers plus hired guns. I'm becoming the ultimate damn Khan pirate. The pirate hideout will be the cornerstone of your operations, silently siphoning off a small fraction of the resources produced from any colony in the system. Though discreet, this will of course not be tolerated for long by your victims, so take good care of keeping your stations concealed if you wish to avoid war. But now, the Reaver stronghold is meant to be the hidden heart of your pirate dominion. Harder to keep secret. As for the cloaking strengths just on that station, not empire-wide. Yeah, I'm an idiot. That was station modifier. The station has a 30% damage reduction, hull fire rate buff. Not your empire. My bad. That's still pretty good for that station though. Harder to keep secret. It will fortify your station and double the efficiency of your hideouts. I personally like to build them tucked away in remote nebulas. And then we have the orbital bombardment stance, plundering. Plundering bombardment targets enemy infrastructure with specialized raiding craft that haul up their resources. They'll be very light damage to armies, moderate to planet, and while under 70% devastation, the monthly chance of stealing 40% of their resources produced by their planet. Chances decrease for each army on the planet, so the more armies there are, the less we can steal. It might be worth softening it up, but who knows. Finally, the more direct approach of mugging your neighbors out of their lunches can be achieved through the plundering bombardment stance, which will let you squeeze every last morsel of valuable resources out of juicy planets. While it won't be much out of backwater colonies, it should prove substantial if you manage to hit a capital or better, an Iggy monopolis. Very true. Now for the nomadic species traits, with Iggy showing us these. One thing we have seen in a lot of science fiction over the years is species moving to zero-G or reduced gravity housing, fundamentally changing compared to the original species. And that was a fantasy we decided to explore in Nomads. That's right, actual secret buff to evolutionary predators, new species traits. Now they can collect more. First is photoadaptive. This species resonates with starlight. Variations in stellar luminosity subtly reshape their biology as they journey between stars. This gives you 10 leader lifespan, has a job efficiency from star classes. We can see the star classes show exactly what they are. So pulsars or neutrons are 15%, class B, A or F are 10, G or K 5, M -5, brown dwarfs, protostars or black holes -15%, because obviously there's less light. So workers and menial drones will get from that -15 to +15. Black holes will give physicists a 15% output, and class M stars will give engineers +15%. But notice our workers and menials would be -5% or even 15% on the black hole. So you can buff different things. You could sit your arc ship still in one of these systems to get the buffs that you want. The Reaver, cunning, not camaraderie. Shape this species' evolution. Every interaction is a contest of will, and survival belongs to the most ruthless. You get 5% job efficiency for traders, which is okay. I guess you can stack it with the trade trait anyway. But commanders will start with the plunderer trait if they are not xenophile or pacifist. So I wouldn't take xenophile or pacifist with this trait then. Plunderer, for every enemy ship destroyed, you will get free trade or consumer goods. I mean, consumer goods are more valuable. I'd rather the free consumer goods. What I hate about these traits currently, since 4.3, is the fact that they've completely gutted how many ships there are in battle. And they haven't adjusted these sort of traits. They exist for other things, like the Unity one, Crusaders, I think it was called. There's other traits that also give like energy per destroyed, allies per destroyed. I think it should be based on the naval capacity you destroy, because say you defeat a fleet of 20, you're literally getting 60 trade. That's awful. And also, that's if you destroy the ships. Remember, if they retreat, you don't get that stuff. So it's pretty meh. Not the best trait. Hopefully they change it to every naval capacity that you destroy or something like that. Because if you destroy 2 battleships are like a lot of corvettes, but you only get 2 destructions. It's a bigger ship. We should get more from it. A negative trait. I love it when they add negative traits. Terraphobic. Having adapted to life aboard artificial environments, this species finds planetary environments oppressive. Gravity, atmosphere, and terrain pose constant challenges to their frail physiology. You have -35% army health, and on non-artificial worlds, you get less job efficiency, 15%, and more amenity usage. Now, remember, all these traits are locked to nomads, so this is quite a free pick unless you plan to settle on planets. I wouldn't be doing that if you're nomadic, probably. You may as well just start as a non-nomad. So this is quite a nice -1. The army health, a bit annoying, just bomb them. Recursive learners. Born to the arc ship, this species refines its knowledge in generational cycles, each cohort improving upon the last to meet their vessel's unique demands. This will grant 1.25 job efficiency per district, up to 25%, depending on arc ship class. class. Okay, I like this. On civilian arc ships, you get job efficiency for materialist jobs and artisan jobs and astro harvesters. So civilian does civilian things, producing goods. Scientific, oh yes. Job efficiency for researcher jobs. Tech rush, tech rush, tech rush. This is the best trait for tech rushing scientific ship. I love it. 1.25 per district and good 25%. 25? Yes, sign me up. And on military arc ships, you get job efficiency for engineer jobs and soldier jobs. And we've seen previously, soldier jobs could be very good because they can buff up different weapons on your ship. So that could also be good there. And remember, as a nomadic empire, you start with one of those, but you can build different ones. So if you build a military arc ship, they'll still have this trait. I like that trait a lot. I'll probably be picking that a lot. Interconnected. Over generations, the boundary between arc ship and occupant has dissolved. The vessel became an extension of their senses and limbs. They in turn became a functional component of its design. Now this is a machine trait. On the arc ship, robots will range from minus 15% to max 5%. Based on what? We'll get to that. The popamenta usage will also range from minus 10% to a max of 0%. These effects are proportional to the number of the pops with this trait. So is more less or more? Because this trait, if you have lots of pops with it, is actually a negative trait for plus 2. So that means you just don't want many with that trait. Maybe you could create 2 different species with that. I'm not sure I like that. If it was like more pops, the better value you got, but it doesn't seem that way since its minimum value is minus 15% and maximum is 5%. Yeah, that doesn't seem the best trait. Maybe I'm missing something. You have combat synced again for machines. Each unit is both engineer and combatant. In wartime, their synchronized protocols stabilize the whole and keep critical systems repaired and optimized. You're going to have a 5% pop energy upkeep, but you'll get 7% engineer jobs efficiency. Why 7? I don't know. During a war or crisis, every 100 pops with this trait will add 0.1 stability to the colony up to 15. And these are only on artificial worlds. This could be a good later game pick. You really want to be at war to get the full benefit of it. 7% efficiency for engineering is okay, but like 5% energy upkeep hurts. And again, that stability, you're going to need a lot of pops to get that maximum 15. Any of the traits explicitly mentioning arc ships are only available to species with the arc ship habitability. Many of the other traits, such as a Reaver and a Photo-Adaptive, are available to all. In addition, there are machine variants of most of these traits. Okay, cool. But it says it requires nomadic on them. But I guess Reaver and Photo-Adaptive can be nomadic too? Or everyone? I don't know. Now, settling and embarking. If there is anything we can learn from looking around in sci-fi, is that nomads often want to go somewhere, and when they get there, they want to stay. As the premier enabler of your science fiction fantasies, we here in Studio Green will let you settle and embark. We can see here we've got a bunch of nomad stuff. To settle is when a arc ship permanently settles on a world, an its nomadic voyage. This requires that either the adaptability or versatility tradition has been complete, so you will need one of those. To settle, either select an arc ship and right-click an uncolonized habitable world, or click the colonize button in the colony view. An empire with the additional arc ships can choose to let them continue as nomads and turn the newly settled empire into a subject. Oh, we can just create subjects from our arc ships. That's interesting. We filled the databank with multiple new entries for nomadic gameplay, so that seems like a great way to start. As mentioned there, if you wish to settle, you should look to your traditions. After finishing adaptability or versatility, you could settle. As long as you have found an empty planet, is that planet already occupied? Simply dislodge them with war system mentioned in the last dev diary. Settlement completed. Thus ends the voyage of the arc ship Husker Prime. After years of labour, disassembling its infrastructure and carrying it down to the gravity well, we're finally ready to scull the ship. We Alari are living through a moment future generations will remember. Now let us settle Marriott free. This planet shall be the foundation of our new empire, which will make us stop being a nomadic empire and colonize as a settled empire. This will give the planet arc ship remains 60% habitability and 2 max districts. All remaining arc ships are sculled and their populations transferred to Marriott free. All way stations in unowned systems are converted into outposts, claiming ownerships of their systems. All logistic ships are converted into construction ships, so you really do just convert fully into a settled empire. You can also see we shall continue to roam the stars, and we shall rule the stars from this planet. As a settling nomad, you will have 3 options. Settle with the arc ship, leaving the rest of the ships to a subject. Settle with all arc ships, putting all the pops in one place, and stay in space while this arc ship settles and becomes a settled subject. So, top one is the settle with arc ships put all in one place. Bottom one, we shall continue to roam the stars, and top one, we will settle with this arc ship, and you're basically then making making the nomads your subject instead of you, I believe. Now, from the other perspective, things are quite similar. We now have a decision to embark. It's going to cost you 500 influence and 10,000 alloys and take you 10 years. You'll embark and become a nomadic empire. Remaining colonies will become a subject. It's very pricey to embark. Embarking costs the same as building an arc ship, and it has a very similar logic to settling. To embark is when a settled empire leaves their habitable world and boards on an arc ship to become a nomadic empire. This requires that either the adaptability or versatility tradition tree has been completed. To embark, open the decision panel on a colony and select embark. If an empire has multiple colonies, they can choose to leave them behind as a subject or instead release the new nomadic empire as a subject. So you can create nomad empires in the galaxy from like an off-world, like say you settle a really bad planet and you want a nomad to maybe buff up your stuff by building way stations and what have you. You could just create an awful planet into a nomadic empire that becomes your subject. Very interesting. Any owned systems with a starbase get a way station. The embarked planet becomes a stripped world. Same logic here. If you have a single planet, you become nomadic and all your existing starbases become way stations. If you have multiple planets, you leave behind a vassal, or the nomad is the vassal. And yes, this is the perfect solution for Doomsday Empires. End times approach. I should do a Doomsday run at some point. Let's put that on the thing. A perpetual gloom pervades on the surface of Quintus. As the planet slowly rips itself apart, with each passing day the earthquakes increase in magnitude and the ash clouds grow denser. Pyroclastic flows and rivers of molten lava have claimed several cities in the worst affected regions. Seemingly, endless caravans of refugees are slowing, making their way through the constant ash. Storms to reach safer areas, where the comforts of civilizations can still be found for now. There may yet be one path to escape: to construct an arc ship and carry what remains of us into the void before the end comes. This planet will not support life much longer. Begin arc ship construction. We must take to the stars. Run away. We then have a custom empire, the Gunderson Research Society, a lost colony of Philosopher King star seekers, obviously related to Earth. It also has some custom events with it, which is pretty cool. If you wanted to dive into a custom Nomad Empire as your first gameplay, this could be something to look at. We then have the Exodus Jump, with Alpharay checking in to report on the progress of our research into the Exodus Jump coordinator. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts, it's limited to the gravity well of our galaxy and cannot escape it. But maybe one day, future DLC looking at different galaxies confirmed. Exodus Jump coordinator, 250 influence, 5,000 alloys, 500 rare crystals. Well, we're going. We don't need hyperlatence. The Exodus Jump. It will cost us 10,000 energy, take 60 days to activate, and 1,800 cooldown. The fleet effect will be that all controlled fleets are catapulted to a random system within the indicated scatter radius. Fleets launched this way receive a 33% fire rate increase for 120 days, opposed to it being nerfed, like with the quantum catapult. The system will also get effects where all fleet stations and starbases receive 10,000 damage, all colonies receive 33% devastation, and this applies to both the destination and origin systems. Okay, so this is really an Exodus Jump. Much like the quantum catapult, the Exodus Jump isn't the most precise method of travel, though any modifiers that apply to quantum catapult will apply to the Exodus Jump as well, so we can get to a very accurate jump. For those of you with astral planes, this includes the astral calibration action, where of course we can get 15% ambush fire rate, 100% modifier duration, and 25% accuracy. Pretty nice. Unlike other forms of point-to-point FTL travel, the space-time tear caused by the Exodus Jump is a tad unclaimed. As you can see here, it looks absolutely wacky. Is it going into like it's going down? Mental. And then we have the United Nations Earth. We have terrible relations because we used a Exodus Jump on them with a minus 1,000 opinion modifier, and it only gains 0.5 yearly, so you've ruined your relations if you do an Exodus Jump. Next week, we'll get the release notes for 4.4 Pegasus update and Nomads, and we'll be revealing the last spinal mount. We'll see you there. Make sure to subscribe. We've spoke a lot about cloaking, so go check out this video where I tried to hide from the entire galaxy and explore it before anyone could find me. It's a wacky idea, but it was very fun. Click here to watch it now.